Thank you for listening. This course was created to help you succeed in your educational journey. Learn more at baremetalcyber.com, where additional podcasts, books, newsletters, and cool merchandise await. Let's get started. Threat modeling is the structured process of analyzing adversarial risks and mapping them to the systems they might affect. In artificial intelligence, it involves identifying assets that must be protected, enumerating the threats those assets face, and considering the possible attack paths an adversary could exploit. The process also includes prioritizing risks so that defenses are applied where they matter most. This structured approach provides clarity in environments where complexity can easily overwhelm intuition. Instead of reacting to incidents after they occur, organizations can proactively consider what could go wrong and design safeguards ahead of time. For AI systems, where emergent behaviors and novel attack vectors are common, threat modeling offers a disciplined lens through which to anticipate, understand, and mitigate risks before they cause harm. Classic threat modeling methodologies provide the foundation upon which AI-specific approaches can build. Stride, developed by Microsoft, organizes threats into 6 categories: spoofing, tampering, repudiation, information disclosure, denial of service, and elevation of privilege. Dread scoring provides a structured way to rate risks across dimensions like damage, reproducibility, exploitability, affected users, and discoverability. Attack trees visualize how an attacker might achieve their objectives by breaking complex goals into smaller steps, making attack paths easier to see and analyze. Misuse cases extend traditional use case modeling by explicitly describing how systems could be used in harmful ways. These classic approaches remain valuable, but they must be adapted to reflect the unique assets, vulnerabilities, and adversaries of AI systems. Adapting threat modeling for AI systems requires attention to risks beyond traditional IT. Data-centric threats are critical, as poisoned datasets can corrupt training or fine-tuning in ways that persist invisibly until exploited. Model-specific risks, such as adversarial examples or weight extraction, target the AI artifacts themselves rather than the surrounding infrastructure. Inference abuse occurs when adversaries manipulate prompts, overload endpoints, or misuse outputs for fraud or disinformation. Connector vulnerabilities emerge when plugins or external integrations are manipulated, creating indirect attack vectors. These adaptations expand the scope of threat modeling, ensuring it captures the distinct risks that arise when AI systems are deployed in dynamic, high-stakes environments. Without this tailoring, threat models risk missing the most important vulnerabilities unique to AI. Asset identification is the foundation of effective threat modeling, as organizations must know what they are protecting before they can defend it. In AI, key assets include datasets which encode both knowledge and bias, embeddings which provide compressed semantic representations of data, and model weights which embody intellectual property and operational capabilities. Prompts and memory stores are also critical, as they may contain sensitive user inputs or contextual knowledge. External connectors, such as plugins, APIs, or databases, form another category of assets, representing both valuable functionality and potential vulnerabilities. By cataloging these assets, organizations clarify what is at stake and what needs protection. Without a clear inventory, threat modeling cannot accurately map threats or prioritize defenses. Threat enumeration translates the inventory of assets into potential risks. Poisoning attacks target datasets, subtly altering labels or content to bias outcomes. Adversarial evasion manipulates inputs so that models misclassify or generate unintended responses, bypassing safety filters. Extraction attacks attempt to reconstruct model weights or replicate intellectual property by probing inference outputs. Denial of service attacks overload training pipelines or inference APIs, degrading performance or availability. Each of these threats represents a distinct way that adversaries may exploit AI systems. Enumerating them creates the raw material for threat models, ensuring that no significant risk is overlooked. This step turns abstract concern into concrete scenarios, laying the groundwork for structured analysis and mitigation. Attack surface mapping connects enumerated threats to the system's architecture. Training pipelines may be targeted during data ingestion, pre-processing, or checkpoint storage. Inference APIs represent external interfaces that adversaries can probe, flood, or exploit. Plug-in integrations expand the surface by introducing third-party code, often with privileged access to data or tools. Orchestration layers, which coordinate multi-step processes and tool use, may expose complex dependencies that attackers can manipulate. Mapping these surfaces clarifies where controls should be applied and where vigilance is most needed. For AI systems, with their intricate interplay of components, attack surface mapping is especially important. It ensures that organizations focus their defenses on the actual points of exposure, rather than on theoretical or low-probability risks. Adversary profiling adds context to threat modeling by examining who might launch attacks and what resources they bring to bear. External attackers may range from opportunistic hackers probing public endpoints to organized criminal groups seeking financial gain. Insiders with privilege represent another category, as employees or contractors can misuse their access to datasets, models, or orchestration layers. State-sponsored groups often pursue strategic objectives, such as destabilization or intellectual property theft, bringing advanced capabilities and persistence. Opportunistic actors, meanwhile, may exploit vulnerabilities simply because they are visible, regardless of motive. Profiling adversaries ensures that defenses are proportionate. While opportunists require strong baseline controls, sophisticated adversaries may demand layered defenses and continuous monitoring. In AI contexts, this profiling acknowledges that threats are not uniform and helps organizations allocate resources wisely. Abuse scenarios make risks concrete by describing how AI systems could be misused for harmful purposes. Generative models can be directed to produce disinformation campaigns, automating the creation of persuasive but false narratives. Fraud automation is another concern, as AI may be leveraged to bypass verification systems, generate synthetic identities, or conduct phishing at scale. Identity manipulation can occur when AI-generated outputs impersonate voices, faces, or writing styles, enabling social engineering. Misuse of generative outputs, even without malicious intent, can still produce harmful effects if boundaries are unclear. Documenting these scenarios is valuable not only for technical teams, but also for executives and policymakers, who must understand the societal impacts of AI abuse. Abuse scenarios expand threat modeling beyond technical vulnerabilities into real-world consequences. Modeling techniques provide the structured tools for capturing threats. Data flow diagrams map how information moves through the system, highlighting where sensitive data crosses trust boundaries. Component decomposition breaks down the architecture into smaller parts, making vulnerabilities easier to analyze. Trust boundary mapping explicitly identifies the lines between trusted and untrusted environments, clarifying where protections must be applied. Scenario generation combines these elements into narratives that describe how an attacker might exploit weaknesses. These techniques help transform abstract concerns into visual and logical models that stakeholders can review and refine. In AI systems where complexity is high, these techniques are indispensable for making risks comprehensible and actionable. They turn threat modeling into a collaborative process rather than a purely technical exercise. Scoring of risks follows the identification of threats, providing a way to prioritize. Likelihood estimation asks how probable it is that a threat could occur, given adversary capabilities and existing controls. Impact analysis measures the potential harm, ranging from reputational damage to financial loss or regulatory penalties. Prioritization matrices plot likelihood against impact, providing a clear view of which risks deserve immediate attention. Ranking controls against these priorities ensures that resources are not spread too thin but applied where they will be most effective. For AI systems, this scoring is particularly useful, as the number of possible threats can be overwhelming. Structured scoring provides discipline, allowing organizations to focus on the risks that matter most rather than chasing every possible concern. Control mapping closes the loop between identified risks and actual defenses. Technical safeguards might include encryption, access controls, or anomaly detection systems. Monitoring systems track inputs and outputs for signs of misuse or compromise. Policy layers set the organizational boundaries for acceptable behavior, guiding users and administrators alike. Process interventions establish escalation procedures and incident response pathways, ensuring that threats are not only prevented but also addressed effectively when they occur. By mapping each risk to one or more controls, organizations demonstrate that they are not merely cataloging problems, but actively solving them. In AI contexts, where threats often span technical, social, and governance domains, control mapping provides the structured assurance that risks are comprehensively addressed. Integration of threat modeling into the software development lifecycle ensures that security is not an afterthought. At the design phase, threat models guide architectural choices, highlighting where boundaries and controls must be established. During development, iterative threat modeling allows teams to reassess risks as new features are added. Testing before deployment verifies that identified controls are working as intended, reducing the likelihood of introducing vulnerabilities into production. Post-deployment monitoring ensures that threat models remain current, adapting to changes in usage patterns or adversary tactics. Embedding threat modeling into every stage of the lifecycle transforms it from a one-time exercise into a continuous discipline. For AI systems, this integration is critical. It ensures that evolving risks are managed proactively rather than reactively. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other prepcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. Automation in threat modeling is increasingly important as AI systems grow more complex and dynamic. Tooling can generate diagrams automatically from infrastructure definitions, reducing the manual burden of mapping architectures. Automated risk scoring applies pre-built heuristics and data-driven models to rank threats, ensuring consistent evaluation across projects. Integration with continuous integration and continuous deployment pipelines brings threat modeling into the daily workflow, updating assessments whenever code or infrastructure changes. Dynamic updates ensure that as new components are added, threat models evolve without waiting for quarterly reviews. Automation doesn't eliminate the need for human judgment, but it does scale the practice, ensuring that threat modeling keeps pace with rapid development cycles and the fluid nature of AI deployments. Metrics for effectiveness help validate whether threat modeling is delivering real value. Tracking the number of threats identified provides a measure of the process's reach, while closure rates on modeled risks indicate follow-through. Detection accuracy highlights how well-identified risks correspond to actual incidents, preventing wasted effort on unlikely scenarios. Coverage across assets ensures that all key components, from datasets to orchestration layers, are represented in the models. Together, these metrics help organizations judge whether their efforts are meaningful or merely symbolic. For AI contexts, where threats are novel and evolving, these measures provide crucial feedback, confirming that modeling is both comprehensive and actionable. Common pitfalls can undermine the usefulness of threat modeling if not addressed. Overcomplication of models creates unwieldy diagrams that obscure rather than clarify risks. Ignoring evolving threats leaves models outdated and blind to new attack vectors. Failing to update regularly allows risk registers to drift from reality, leaving teams with a false sense of security. Insufficient stakeholder input narrows the perspective, missing threats that may be obvious to other disciplines. Recognizing these pitfalls helps organizations design threat modeling practices that are realistic, adaptive, and collaborative. For AI systems where novelty is constant, the danger of stale or overly complex models is especially acute. Practicality and agility are as important as rigor. Cross-team collaboration is the antidote to many of these pitfalls. Engineers bring knowledge of architecture and implementation details, mapping out where components and data flows actually exist. Security specialists validate identified threats, and suggest controls based on known attack patterns. Executives prioritize resources, ensuring that high-impact risks receive attention and budget. Auditors review the rigor of the process, confirming that models are not only thorough but also aligned with compliance expectations. Collaboration ensures that threat modeling reflects multiple perspectives, avoiding blind spots. In AI systems, this collaboration is particularly important, as risks span technical, ethical, and operational dimensions. No single team can capture the full scope alone. Linking threat modeling to governance ensures that identified risks inform organizational policies and oversight. Threat models can highlight where acceptable use policies must be strengthened or where controls must be codified into formal procedures. Mapping risks to frameworks such as NIST or ISO ensures that organizational practices remain aligned with external standards. Alignment with acceptable use ensures that technical and policy boundaries reinforce each other, rather than drifting apart. Feeding results into board reporting ensures that leadership is aware of the risks inherent in AI deployments and the steps taken to mitigate them. This linkage elevates threat modeling from a technical exercise to a governance instrument, shaping how organizations manage AI responsibly. The strategic role of threat modeling lies in its ability to proactively identify risks before they manifest as incidents. By prioritizing risks in a structured way, organizations avoid being caught off guard by predictable threats. This structured prioritization provides assurance for stakeholders, showing that the enterprise takes a disciplined, forward-looking approach to AI security. Threat modeling also enables secure scaling. As AI systems grow in complexity and reach, structured analysis ensures that defenses keep pace. In this way, threat modeling is not just a security practice but a strategic enabler, allowing organizations to innovate with confidence. It blends foresight with discipline, turning uncertainty into manageable, actionable insight. In conclusion, threat modeling is a structured discipline that helps organizations anticipate and mitigate risks in AI systems before they become crises. It begins with clear definitions, structured analysis of adversarial risks, mapping of assets, identification of attack paths, and prioritization of defenses. Classic approaches such as STRIDE, DREAD, attack trees, and misuse cases provide proven foundations, while adaptations for AI add specificity for data poisoning, inference abuse, and connector vulnerabilities. By combining traditional and AI-specific methods, organizations achieve a balanced lens that is both rigorous and relevant. Threat modeling thus evolves from a static checklist into a dynamic process suited for the unpredictability of modern AI. The practice is strengthened by comprehensive asset identification. Datasets, embeddings, model weights, prompts, and connectors all represent valuable and vulnerable components. Threat enumeration expands this inventory into concrete risks, from adversarial evasion to denial of service. Attack surface mapping then shows where in the pipeline those threats can materialize, whether at training stages, inference APIs, or orchestration layers. Profiling adversaries and generating abuse scenarios further sharpen awareness, ensuring that defenses account for both sophisticated actors and opportunistic misuse. These steps make threat modeling more than theoretical. They make it a grounded exercise rooted in the real architecture and context of the AI system in question. Techniques like data flow diagrams, component decomposition, and trust boundary mapping bring clarity, allowing teams to visualize threats in ways stakeholders can understand. Scoring and prioritization systems make risks manageable, preventing teams from drowning in long lists without guidance. Control mapping ensures that each identified risk is paired with a defensive measure, demonstrating practical follow-through. When integrated into the software development lifecycle, threat modeling ceases to be a one-off audit and becomes a continuous companion. It informs design, validates development, guides deployment, and evolves with post-deployment monitoring. This integration ensures that AI systems are secure not just at launch but throughout their lifecycle. Automation, metrics, and cross-team collaboration elevate threat modeling from manual effort to organizational practice. Tooling for diagram generation and automated scoring keeps models current in fast-moving environments. Metrics such as detection accuracy and closure rates provide feedback on effectiveness, while collaboration across engineering, security, and leadership ensures comprehensive coverage. Avoiding pitfalls like overcomplication or stale models keeps the process practical. By embedding threat modeling into governance structures and reporting, organizations make it not just a technical activity but a core part of responsible oversight. This alignment turns risk analysis into a governance instrument that resonates from engineers to boardrooms. The strategic role of threat modeling lies in its ability to make AI adoption safe and sustainable. By proactively identifying risks, it empowers organizations to innovate with confidence. Structured prioritization ensures resources are applied effectively, avoiding wasted effort on unlikely or low-impact threats. Assurance for stakeholders builds trust, demonstrating that AI systems are not deployed recklessly but with foresight and accountability. Secure scaling becomes possible as risks are systematically managed even as systems grow more complex and widespread. Threat modeling is thus not simply defensive. It is enabling, providing the conditions for AI to deliver value without compromising safety. As we transition to the next episode on the OWASP Gen AI Top 10, the connection is natural. Threat modeling gives organizations a structured way to identify risks, while the OWASP Top 10 provides a widely recognized taxonomy of the most common and critical vulnerabilities. Together, they create a powerful toolkit, one process-oriented, the other community-driven and standardized. By mastering threat modeling, you are now prepared to apply this discipline to the OWASP Gen AI Top 10, ensuring that your defenses are not only structured but also aligned with the leading benchmarks of AI security practice. Thanks for tuning in to Bare Metal Cyber, your trusted source for cybersecurity educational materials, news, and insights. Remember to subscribe at baremetalcyber.com so you never miss an update. And visit cyberauthor.me for best-selling cybersecurity books that equip you with expert knowledge. Until next time, stay secure and stay vigilant.